Are you tired of making really common English grammar mistakes? Do you not feel like learning them all over again, because then you're going to feel like you're in the basic level all over again? Well, I hate to tell you this, but having proper grammar is really going to improve your communication skills and your fluency in English. So it is necessary. But I'm going to go over 10 of the most common grammar mistakes that people make all the time. Hopefully, if you find one that you do, you can correct it after this video. All right, the first mistake I see all the time with all of my English students, and that is subject and verb agreement. There always has to be a subject and a verb in any sentence, and they have to agree with each other. So the biggest one that so many people get wrong is the present tense, right? Isn't that so funny? Because the present tense is supposed to be like the easiest grammar in English, but it's when it comes to he, she, it, and they. So for example, singulars and plurals. So a lot of people get he does wrong. They always want to say he do. So for example, he does this every day. He do this every day. That doesn't sound right. It needs to be does. He, she, and it is always with a S. So he does this every day. He goes outside every morning. He go outside every morning? No, he goes outside every morning. They go outside. They goes outside? No, they go outside. You catch my drift here. Every time you're using he, she, or it in the present tense, you always need to make sure you're adding an S. Always, always, always. That has always been the rule. And I cannot explain why you have to add an S if it's not plural, it just is. And it's one of those things in languages where you just have to know the rule and do it properly.
Remember the rule.
The second thing that a lot of people mistake is using a and the as articles. More so not understanding which one to use in certain situations. So when you're using a or an, then you're talking about a non-specific noun. And if we use the, then we are using a specific noun. So for example, I saw a cat down the road. Okay, well this could have been any cat. Maybe this is just a random cat and you've never seen a cat before and you're like, oh, I saw a cat. Okay. What if you saw the cat? Well, maybe it's a crazy cat that your neighbor has and they just scream every single morning and you know it's the cat. Well, that's when you would use the cat. Instead of saying a cat, it's not just any cat, it's the cat.
The cat sat on the mat.
And you can use that for any example. So if you're using a or an, then you're talking about something in general terms. But if it's the, then it's specific, and you would assume that the other person you're talking to knows exactly what you're talking about. One example that I have of this is pizza in Lima, Peru. If you know Lima, you know that Lima has incredible food here. And there is this one pizza place called Calavera, and it is incredible. But I wouldn't just call it like, let's order a pizza. I would say, let's order the pizza. And then my boyfriend knows exactly who he's calling because I don't have to say anything else. It's the pizza.
Those dogs have nearly finished the pizza.
All right, the next is pronouns. So pronouns are used to replace other nouns, okay? So for example, this is a correct sentence. She gave him the book. And what a lot of people say as a mistake is she gave he the book. So we want to use the pronoun him, her. Like you want to try to use one of those instead of saying like he the book, like use him, her. It's like it's very common. It's like it's something that you need to practice. It's like using hers, theirs, ours, and just get used to it. Just practice those as much as you can. Maybe a good practice for this is taking something and giving it to someone else and being like, oh, this is yours. Or I will give this to him because it is his. You see my drift? All right, the next one is adjectives. So adjectives and how you use them with plurals. For some reason, a lot of people forget to add the S when we talk about something in plural. So for example, a red car. Okay, the adjective is that it's red and it's a car, that's the noun. But if you have a few red cars, then you have an S after car. Why? Because it's plural, there's a few of them. Or there's a couple of red cars outside. Or there's 10 cars outside. Maybe there's 10 rainbow cars outside. Making sure that I have that S there. It's really important to add that S, even though you can't really hear it. So clearly it needs to be there.
Plural title, by the way.
All right, the fifth thing that people forget to do often is adding ly to adverbs. So for example, if someone was running up a hill, I could say she ran quick, but it's better to say she ran quickly. It's kind of like modifying the verb to sound more active. Or maybe they were walking slow. Well, they were walking slowly. We want to add that ly. Why? Because it makes your English sound much more advanced. And that's what we do when we're trying to explain a situation or a scenario to someone. You want to add the ly, okay? Would I say I rare eat pizza? No, because I eat pizza all the time, but I would say I rarely eat pizza, even though that's not true. Maybe I would say I rarely eat fish because I don't like it. So make sure you add the ly to your adverbs.
Adverbs end in the letters what?
All right, if you are wanting to speak more fluent and advanced English, but you don't know how to get there, well, you need a plan. And I help you create your plan with my free roadmap to advanced English. It's a free download. All you have to do is go through it, figure out the best ways for you to learn English, and you have yourself a solid plan. If you stick with it, you will advance your English so quickly. So if you want to check it out, it's the first link down below. You'll see it. It says free download. So go ahead and download it and create your plan for success. All right, this next one is understanding your prepositions. Now, I made an entire video about in, on, and at, how to properly say them in terms of location and time. Now, if you want to see that video, it's going to be linked in one of these corners, and so I will add that for you. Really making sure your prepositions are clear and really laid out. So for example, would I say he is in the car or he is on the car? Well, he is in the car. Would I say he is in the bus or he is on the bus? We would say he is on the bus. And so if that is confusing to you, then check out that video that I'm linking, because it's gonna help you really understand in, on, and at properly. All right, this next thing is verb tenses. Now, this is not so much that you don't know how to use verb tenses. Maybe you do understand for past tense, we like to use ed almost all the time, but maybe you don't say it. So for example, I have a lot of students here who forget to say the ed. They forget to say the d at the end if they are trying to portray something in the past. One example I hear all the time is, on the weekend, I dance with my friends. Okay, are you dancing right now or did you dance? You danced? Is that what you did? You danced? You have to have that t at the end of the ed. You want to make sure that it's very clear that you are talking in the past. It's not enough to just be like, on the weekend, last weekend, I danced. Okay, but if you say, last weekend, I danced, okay, we know what you're talking about, but it doesn't sound fluent. So making sure that, especially for verbs that you say in the past, and if it has a D, that you say the D. Make sure you hear the D. We want to know the D. All right, and this last one is gonna be very basic, but a lot of advanced speakers actually misuse this all the time. And that is the proper sentence structure. Remember this one rule, SVO. SVO is subject, verb, object. You will always have that structure in English at all times. It's not gonna change. Unless you're doing like questions, but that's not what we're talking about right now. But if you're trying to understand like what is the order of things I need to say, always remember the subject goes first, he, she, I, you, whatever it is, verb, and then whatever else you're talking about. So for example, if I said, I went out with my friends last week, I, subject, went, verb, out with my friends. My friends are the object. And so that is the structure.
The structure of Stone Age culture is evidence of the ability to communicate verbally.
All right, so here are some of the very common grammar mistakes I hear all the time from my students, and hopefully if you do make any of these same mistakes, just know that that's totally okay. But hopefully this video can help you relearn it and be able to speak properly. All right, if you are focused and driven to want to speak fluent English right now, check out this next video over here. It's when I talk about all the things that you need to do to be fluent in English and stop hesitating as you are speaking.